3 nights ago, a 58-year-old woman sitting exactly where you are right now sent me a message that stopped me cold. She said, "I haven't looked in a mirror from the side in 2 years." If that sentence just landed somewhere inside you, stop scrolling right now, because what I am about to tell you in the next 4 minutes has never been said in this way on this platform, and I am not exaggerating. Your double chin is not fat. It is not your diet, and it is not your age, not in the way you think. What it actually is a system failure happening silently in 3 separate places at once. And every single thing you have tried so far has been attacking the wrong target entirely. No wonder nothing worked. Here is the part that genuinely shocks people. If you leave this alone, it does not stay where it is. Within 18 months, it migrates downward, deepening the jowls, collapsing the neck, and triggering full lower face sagging in a cascade you did not start and cannot stop by eating less. I have watched this happen in clinical practice for 15 years. The window to reverse it without intervention is right now while you are watching this video. Before I show you the solution, and everything you need is already in your kitchen, I need you to do one thing. Drop your age in the comments. Because at 45, at 55, and at 65, the mechanism shifts in a completely different direction. And in about 3 minutes, I am going to come back to your specific decade and tell you exactly what is failing inside your body right now. Drop it now, then keep watching. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that button because this breakdown is coming fast. Now, beneath your chin, 3 biological systems are failing at the exact same time, and nobody has ever explained this to you together in one place. The first is your platysma muscle, a wide, thin internal scaffolding that runs from your collarbone to your jawline. When estrogen drops, this muscle loses the hormonal signal that kept it firm. It does not just weaken, it goes silent. The second is your submental lymphatic network, a cluster of drainage nodes sitting directly beneath your jaw. When these nodes slow down, fluid, inflammatory waste, and trapped fat compounds stop moving. They pool, they accumulate. You can feel them right now if you press 2 fingers under your jaw. The third is your submental adipose tissue, a compartment of fat that becomes hormonally locked after menopause and stops responding to general weight loss entirely. You could lose 20 pounds and this area would not move a millimeter because it is operating on a completely different biological signal. Think of it this way. Your body is a sink with 3 problems happening simultaneously. The pipe walls are collapsing, the drain is completely blocked, and the water itself has changed composition so it no longer flows. Fixing one problem, eating less, doing chin exercises, drinking more water, does absolutely nothing when the system is broken in 3 separate places at once. But here is what matters. Every single part of this is correctable, and I am going to show you exactly how, starting right now. Root factor 1, platysma muscle atrophy. The first factor is one that almost no one talks about in connection with a double chin, and it is going to surprise you because it has nothing to do with fat. You might be thinking, my neck muscles? That seems completely unrelated to what I see under my chin. And that is exactly the thought I want to address, because this is the structural root that every cosmetic treatment is trying to compensate for without ever fixing. Here is the biological path. Your platysma simply means that broad, flat neck muscle is directly attached to the tissues of your lower jaw and cheek. When it loses tone, it does not just go slack. It actively pulls downward on the skin and fat above it, creating a mechanical dragging force on your jawline every single day. Estrogen is the hormone that maintained the neuromuscular signaling. Simply means the communication between your nerves and that muscle. And after menopause, that signal weakens significantly. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology found that women experience up to a 30% reduction in facial and neck muscle fiber density within the first 5 years after menopause. 30%. That is structural. This is why firming creams fail at this layer. A cream sits on the skin's surface. It cannot reach a muscle sitting beneath 3 layers of tissue. Rubbing the surface of a deflating balloon does not reinflate it. Here is your solution. Take a standard tennis ball, place it under your chin, press your chin firmly down into the ball, hold for 3 seconds, release. That is 1 repetition. Do 10 repetitions, 3 sets, twice per day, once in the morning and once before bed. This costs nothing. It takes 4 minutes total, and it directly activates and rebuilds platysma fiber density over time. The next factor is actually more surprising than this one, because it lives in a body system most women have never connected to their face at all. Root factor 2, submental lymphatic congestion. The second factor is the one I believe is responsible for the puffiness and fullness you notice most in the morning. when you wake up and the situation under your chin looks noticeably worse than it did the night before. You might think, lymph nodes are for immune function. What do they have to do with my chin? And that instinct makes sense because we are taught to think of lymphatic drainage in the context of illness. But here is what your body is actually doing while you sleep. Your submental lymph nodes simply means the collection of small immune and drainage stations located in a curved line directly beneath your jawline are responsible for continuously clearing fluid, metabolic waste, and pro-inflammatory proteins from your lower face and chin. During the day, movement, jaw function, and gravity all assist this drainage process. But when you sleep, you stop moving. Gravity reverses and drainage slows dramatically. By morning, hours of accumulated fluid have settled into that tissue. A study in the Journal of Anatomy confirmed that submental lymphatic flow can decrease by up to 60% during sleep in women over 50 compared to younger women due to reduced vessel wall elasticity, 60% reduction in drainage overnight. This is why your double chin looks worse the moment you wake up. It is not fat, it is stagnant fluid and inflammatory residue that has not been cleared. Common lymphatic massage devices and rollers help superficially, but miss the 4 specific pressure points that directly communicate with the submental nodes and trigger active drainage. Here is your solution. Every morning, brew 1 standard green tea bag in 200 milliliters of warm, not boiling, water. Soak a clean face cloth in it. Wring it out and hold it firmly under your jaw for 8 minutes. The warmth dilates the lymphatic vessels. The EGCG in green tea simply means the primary anti-inflammatory catechin compound directly reduces the inflammatory proteins that are thickening the fluid in those nodes. Then, immediately after the compress, use the 4-point acupressure sequence I will give you in the protocol section. That sequence is the key that opens the drain. If you are finding this clinically useful and you are not yet subscribed, please do that now. Every week on this channel, I bring you mechanisms and protocols that your doctor's appointment simply does not have time to cover. You deserve the full explanation. Subscribe so you keep getting it. Root Factor 3, Estrogen-Driven Hormonal Fat Lock. The third factor is the one that explains why you can lose weight everywhere else on your body and watch that area under your chin refuse to move even 1 millimeter. You might think, if I lose overall body fat, surely the chin fat goes too. And in your 20s and 30s, you would have been right. But here is what changed after menopause. Your submental fat cells, the ones sitting in that specific compartment under your chin, are loaded with a receptor type called alpha-2 adrenergic receptors. Simply means receptors on the surface of fat cells that actively block fat breakdown when stimulated. Before menopause, estrogen kept these receptors relatively suppressed. The moment estrogen levels decline, these alpha-2 receptors become dominant, essentially putting a biological lock on fat release from that compartment. A research review in the journal Obesity Reviews confirmed that postmenopausal women have significantly elevated alpha-2 receptor activity in facial and submental fat depots compared to premenopausal women, making these areas up to 40% more resistant to lipolysis. Simply means the biological process of breaking fat down for energy, 40% more resistant. While the rest of your body responds to a calorie deficit, that compartment does not. This is why every diet works everywhere except there. The lock is hormonal, not caloric. Here is your solution. Every morning, mix 1 tablespoon of freshly ground flaxseed into a glass of warm water and drink it before eating anything. Flaxseed contains lignans, simply means plant compounds that act as weak phytoestrogens and partially occupy those estrogen receptor sites, reducing the dominance of the alpha-2 lock. Immediately follow that with a glass of warm water with the juice of half a lemon and a 1/4 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols that stimulate beta-adrenergic receptor activity. Simply means the opposing receptor type that promotes fat release, creating a competing signal in that locked compartment. The next factor is the one nobody addresses, and it explains why the skin itself hangs even when the fluid and fat begin to clear. Root Factor 4, Collagen and elastin scaffold collapse. The fourth factor operates at a completely different level than everything we have discussed so far, and understanding it changes what you do after the other work begins showing results. You might think collagen is about wrinkles, not about a double chin, but here is the structural truth your skin is living right now. Beneath the surface of the skin in your submental area lies a dense protein network called the dermal matrix. Simply means the internal scaffolding made of collagen and elastin fibers that gives skin its firmness, its spring back, and its ability to hold its position over the tissues beneath it. After 50, a woman loses approximately 2.1% of her dermal collagen per year, according to research published in the British Journal of Dermatology. That loss compounds. By 60, the structural deficit is significant enough that even if fat volume decreases beneath the skin itself no longer has the elasticity to retract and redrape tightly over the new contour. It hangs. And it hangs visibly in the submental area first because that skin is thinner and subject to gravitational pull from every chin-down movement you make. This is why weight loss can actually make a double chin look worse in postmenopausal women. Less volume, same loose envelope. The scaffold must be repaired, not just emptied. Here is your solution. 4 times per week, mix 1 raw egg white with half a teaspoon of turmeric powder and 3 drops of fresh lemon juice. Apply this mixture under your chin and along your jawline. Leave it for 15 minutes, then rinse with cool water. The egg white delivers albumin, simply means a protein that temporarily cross-links surface skin fibers and delivers amino acid precursors directly through the upper skin layers. The turmeric delivers curcumin, which has documented collagen synthesis stimulation activity at the dermal level. The lemon provides vitamin C, the essential cofactor for collagen production in your own fibroblast cells. 4 times per week, 15 minutes. Everything costs under $4 total. Root factor 5, chronic submental inflammation from dietary triggers. The 5th factor is the one that silently undoes every other step you take, and it is hiding in foods that are commonly considered healthy. You might think, I already eat reasonably well, so inflammation probably isn't my issue. But submental inflammation is not driven by obviously bad foods. It is driven by 2 specific categories that are deeply embedded in everyday eating patterns for women in our age group. Here is the biological path. Refined seed oils, vegetable oil, canola oil, sunflower oil are extraordinarily high in omega-6 fatty acids. When consumed in excess relative to omega-3s, they generate a compound called arachidonic acid. Simply means a pro-inflammatory fatty acid that the body converts into chemical messengers that increase localized tissue inflammation. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that women with the highest omega-6 to omega-3 ratios had measurably greater facial and submental adipose inflammation markers, with the imbalance ratio in the average Western diet running as high as 20-1 against omega-3s, when the ideal is 4-1. High glycemic carbohydrates compound this by spiking insulin, which stimulates the exact same alpha-2 fat-locking receptors we discussed in factor 3. Inflammation in that tissue does 2 things simultaneously. It increases fluid retention and it actively blocks the collagen synthesis pathways you are trying to stimulate with factor 4. You cannot build and burn at the same time. Here is your solution. Replace the cooking oil you use most frequently with 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil per meal. Add half a teaspoon of turmeric to 1 dish per day. A soup, a stew, scrambled eggs, anything warm. Add a pinch of black pepper alongside it. The piperine in black pepper increases curcumin absorption by 2,000% according to research in Planta Medica. These are not supplements. They are grocery items, and together they begin shifting your internal inflammatory ratio within 72 hours. Practical protocol. Now I am going to give you everything in one system. Not a list of tips you will mix and match randomly, but a structured 4-week progression where each week builds on the last and the results compound. Week 1, open the drain. Your only focus this week is lymphatic activation and compression. Do not add anything else yet. The system must be cleared before it can be rebuilt. Every morning, within 10 minutes of waking, brew your green tea compress. 1 standard green tea bag in 200 milliliters of warm water. Soak your cloth. Apply under your jaw for exactly 8 minutes while you sit upright with your head in a neutral position, not tilted back, not tilted forward. Then immediately perform the 4-point acupressure sequence. Use your index and middle finger together and press firmly, not painfully, firmly, at point 1, located directly at the center of your chin on the underside. Hold for 5 seconds, release. Point 2, located 1 centimeter behind the corner of your jaw on each side. Press both sides simultaneously, hold 5 seconds, release. Point 3, located at the junction where your earlobe meets your neck. Press both sides simultaneously, hold 5 seconds, release. Point 4, located 2 centimeters below your earlobe, along the front of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Press and hold 5 seconds. Complete this sequence 3 full times. This opens the 4 primary lymphatic tributaries, feeding the submental region. Every evening, nothing additional this week. Rest. Week 2, rebuild the muscle. Add the tennis ball platysma exercise to your morning routine after the acupressure sequence. 10 repetitions, 3 sets, 2 fingers width of pressure against the ball. Add it again before bed. This is your evening routine for the remainder of the protocol. Morning flaxseed water begins this week. 1 tablespoon ground flaxseed in warm water, drunk first thing before the compress. Add the tennis ball platysma exercise to your morning routine after the acupressure sequence. 10 repetitions, 3 sets, 2 fingers width of pressure against the ball. Add it again before bed. This is your evening routine for the remainder of the protocol. Morning flaxseed water begins this week. 1 tablespoon ground flaxseed in warm water, drunk first thing before the compress. Week 3, address the fat lock and inflammation. Add the ginger lemon water immediately after your flaxseed drink. Add the olive oil and turmeric dietary swap starting with your first meal. Your morning routine is now flaxseed water, ginger lemon water, green tea compress, acupressure sequence, tennis ball exercise. Total time, 19 minutes. Week 4, repair the scaffold. Add the egg white and turmeric mask on 4 mornings of this week, applied after the compress, before the acupressure sequence. Let it sit for 15 minutes while you do your acupressure and tennis ball sets in sequence. The bonus technique, frozen spoon. Finish every single morning after your full routine is complete. Take a metal spoon that you kept in your freezer overnight. Using the back of the spoon, make 8 slow, firm upward strokes starting from your collarbone, moving up along each side of the neck and finishing at the jawline. This vasoconstriction simply means the temporary narrowing of blood vessels from cold, creates an immediate tightening response in the skin matrix, reduces morning puffiness by clearing any residual fluid the acupressure loosened, and dramatically amplifies the visual results of everything else you just did. It takes 90 seconds, it costs nothing, and it compounds every single other step. By week 4, you are running a complete system, not 5 separate actions. 1 integrated morning and evening ritual that addresses muscle, lymph, hormonal fat lock, collagen scaffold, and inflammation simultaneously. Now, I want to speak directly to your decade, because this is where the protocol emphasis changes, and this is why I asked you to drop your age in the comments at the beginning of this video. If you are in your 40s, the dominant driver of your submental fullness right now is almost certainly the beginning of lymphatic sluggishness combined with early platysma tone loss. Your collagen is still relatively abundant. Your priority in this protocol is week 1 and week 2. Focus there first, and you will see the fastest initial results. If you are in your 50s, the hormonal fat lock from factor 3 becomes the critical variable. Estrogen has declined significantly. The alpha-2 receptors are active. If you skip the flaxseed and ginger protocol, the other steps will show limited results in that specific compartment. Week 3 is your most important week. If you are in your 60s, collagen scaffold collapse is now the rate-limiting factor. Simply means the step that controls how fast everything else can show. Without addressing factor 4, the skin will not retract even as fluid clears and fat begins to mobilize. Week 4 and the egg white mask protocol become non-negotiable for your decade. Drop your age in the comments right now, not for me, for you, so you can come back to this video, find your comment, and know exactly which week to double down on. Let me bring all 5 factors together for you in one place. Factor 1 was platysma muscle atrophy, solved with the daily tennis ball chin press resistance exercise, 3 sets of 10 repetitions twice daily. Factor 2 was submental lymphatic congestion, solved with the warm green tea compress for 8 minutes each morning, followed by the 4-point acupressure drainage sequence. Factor 3 was estrogen-driven hormonal fat lock, solved with 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed in warm water each morning and the ginger lemon mobilization drink immediately after. Factor 4 was collagen and elastin scaffold collapse, solved with the egg white, turmeric, and lemon mask applied 4 times per week for 15 minutes. Factor 5 was chronic submental inflammation from dietary triggers, solved with the olive oil cooking swap and daily turmeric with black pepper added to 1 meal. And every single one of these is connected into 1 19-minute morning system, plus 1 4-minute evening exercise that together address the actual cause of what you are seeing, not just the surface appearance. One important clinical note before you begin. If you notice a firm, fixed, non-movable lump beneath your jaw or in your neck, one that does not soften with the lymphatic compress, does not change with position, and has appeared recently, that is a specific warning sign that requires immediate medical evaluation, not a home protocol. Everything in this video supports your body's natural regenerative function, but it does not replace clinical assessment for structural abnormalities. No clinic will offer you what I just gave you, because there is no billing code for a tennis ball, a green tea bag, and a tablespoon of flaxseed. There is no procedure to schedule, no product to sell, and no follow-up appointment to book. This channel exists for one reason: to give women over 50 the complete biological explanation for what their bodies are doing, and the tools that are already within reach to respond to it. I am Dr. Elena Voss, and after 15 years in clinical practice, the most important thing I have learned is this: your double chin is not a flaw. It is your body signaling that 3 specific systems need attention at the same time. And now you know exactly which 3 they are. If this video helped you, please share it with one woman in your life who has quietly been pressing her fingers under her jaw at night wondering what is happening. She deserves this information. And if you are not subscribed yet, do it now. Not for this channel, but so she can find it too.